Good evening, everybody. Nice to see a full house, almost a full house tonight. The City of Peabody Zoning Board of Appeals meets tonight in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, and other applicable laws. Tonight's hearing will be conducted in the following manner. The Secretary will read the legal notice or state that such notice has been waived. All applications are usually heard in the order that they are presented in the clerk's office, but tonight we are going out of order. I think everybody here, you knew what number you were on the agenda. So we're going to take 2, 3, and 4 right away. So I hope 2, 3, and 4 are here. And then we're going to go on. We are taking things a little out of order, and we can do that. The petition or petitioner's representative will present the subject application to the board. The chair may limit the length of all remarks. All parties in interest will be given an opportunity to speak either in favor or in opposition, and the board may receive similar written communications to be placed on the public record. What does all this mean? For those of you that have not been here before, this is what it means. The secretary will read your petition, and your name will be called. You come up to the podium, press the little button once till you see a red light, and then you state your name and address for the record, and you tell us why you're here. Yes, we have all your information, but we need to hear it from you. And stick to the subject. You're here for dimensional relief. We need to know why. We do not need a whole background of how long you've lived in Peabody and how much you love the city, because we all know we all do. At that point, the board will have some questions, and then I will say, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor? They come up, name and address for the record. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak in opposition? They come up, name and address for the record. If you have a lot of neighbors that are in opposition, you then have the opportunity to come back up to the podium and address some of those issues. And let me say again, the best applications are the ones when you yourself have gone to your neighbors, explained what you're doing, see if they have any concerns, get that all ironed out before you are here and presenting. At that point in time, we vote either to accept and to approve, or we deny. And I say this every month, not everything can be approved. We have zoning rules and laws and regulations to abide by them, just like everything else, fortunately or unfortunately. You stop at a red light, you go on a green light, we have rules and regulations also. This is a very fair board. You're here for a variance. You want a few feet. Hopefully it's just a few feet. If you want the sun, the moon, and the stars, we can't give it to you. And if we were not needed and we approved everything, then there would be no need for us. So keep that in mind. If you happen to come up to us tonight and you are asking for the sun, the moon, and the stars, we will try to work with you to get you what you want. I know you own your property. Everybody seems to think, oh, well, I own my property, I can do what I want. No, you can't do what you want, because there are certain rules that we have to follow. So, one more thing. This has been coming up a lot lately, and I'm just saying this for a point of reference. If you're doing work in your house and you need a storage unit or a pod, you have to come to the building department and you have to get a permit. And a lot of people don't know that. And so when I tell that to people, they say, well, how am I supposed to know? My answer is, if you're building a deck, a shed, you're putting a storage unit on your front lawn, which you can't because it really has to be on a hard surface, anything at all, if you say, oh, I wonder, do you think I need a permit? If you're wondering about it, call the building department and just ask the question, because it's better that you get the permit before and know that you really needed it rather than after and you're going to get in trouble. or you're going to get fined. So if you have any questions about what you're doing to your property, building-wise, or just call the building department. So that being said, we voted, you're either approved or not approved. The decision is typed and filed with the city clerk. Once the decision is filed with the city clerk, there is a 20-day appeal period. You can't do anything for 20 days. Ms. McGrath will get in touch with you the next day and tell you everything you need to know, email it to you. And in compliance with the open meeting law, this hearing is also being recorded by our clerk. When you are at the podium, please speak directly into the microphone clearly, and only speak, please, when you are at the podium. If you are all done and you go and you sit down and you remember something, just raise your hand. I will acknowledge you, and you can come back up. Please don't shout from your seat. So now we are ready to do application number 2, Patricia Bucciero, care of Attorney John Kelty.
Good evening. Number 2 on the agenda tonight is the application of Patricia Bucciero, care of Attorney John Kelty, for variance from the provisions of the zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, section 7.2, as it applies to the premise known as 137 Lake Street in Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance to replace an existing mobile home with a modular home and requires relief from lot area where 20,000 square feet is required and 18,785 square feet is proposed. Front setback where 25 feet is required and 20.5 feet is proposed. Side setback where 20 feet is required and 15.5 feet is proposed. The property is located in an R1 zoning district.
Thank you very much. My name is John Kelty. I'm an attorney. I have offices at 40 Lowell Street here in Peabody, and I'm appearing on behalf of Patricia Bucciero. She's involved in assisting her son, who is the owner of the property, Roberto Carlos Cordero. He purchased this property in 2022, in June of 2022. It was the location of a trailer. If you have familiarized yourself with the plans that have been filed this evening, the mobile home that the gentleman that had lived here prior to the Cordero purchase had lived there for some 65 years, surprisingly, and as such, the size of the trailer shows kind of centralized within the structure that Patricia and her son want to provide on the property. We have provided you with a copy of a plan. We've shown the existing location of the mobile home. We want to replace the mobile home with the modular house. The application points to the fact that we are on an extremely triangular shaped lot, and as such, we point to that irregular shape as being a substantial hardship. The building requires a front yard. We're proposing a front yard of 20.5, a right side yard of 15.5 feet, and building area of 18,785 feet rather than the required 20,000 square feet on Lake Street. Happy to answer any questions that you may have this evening. I think that the application was complete with respect to showing the proposed structure and dwelling and calling out the front side and lot area requirements that we're seeking this evening. I'm happy to answer questions that you may have as well. Patty Bucciero is here this evening also to answer questions that you may have, if any. Thank you.
I'm familiar with this this property, and I think that this is a big upgrade, to say the least. Anybody in the audience to speak in favor? Anybody to speak in opposition? Any other questions by the board? Hearing none, the matter is before the board.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, you've been approved. Thank you. Barrett, Mr. Osborne is here now, but we are still going to take 3 and 4 and then go on to the 40Bs. Number 3, please.
Number 3 on tonight's agenda is the application of Miriam O'Valley for a variance from the provisions of the zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, section 7.2, as it applies to the premise known as 14 Sandra Road in Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance to build a second-floor deck and bulkhead entrance where required relief from left side second-floor deck is 20 feet, that's required, and 10.1 feet or 10 feet 1 inch is proposed. Left side yard bulkhead where 20 feet is required and 12.3 feet is proposed. The property is located in an R1 zoning district.
Is the petitioner here? Miriam O'Valley? No? Okay, well, what we'll do is, maybe she thought she wouldn't be taken at this point. We'll give it a little time. We'll go right on to number 4 and then into the 40Bs. So now we have Robert.
We move to continue to the end?
We're just going to wait. Yeah, we'll just wait. Yeah, so Robert Selkovich.
Number 4 on tonight's agenda is the application of Robert Salkovitz, care of Janice Pedro, for variance from provisions of the zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, section 5 of the DDD, as it applies to the premise known as 7 Dearborn Road in Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance, wall sign, and requires relief from sign height where 25 feet is allowed and 63.5 feet is proposed. Letter size where 2.6 feet is allowed and 2.8 is proposed. The property is located in a DDD zoning district.
Thank you. My name is John Kelty. I'm an attorney. I have offices at 40 Lowell Street in Peabody, Mass., and I'm appearing on behalf of Fairfield Dearborn LLC, the applicants for approval of a sign, which is 2 inches, the lettering are 2 inches bigger than required by the ordinance, and we are at 63 feet rather than 25 feet. And the reason that we are at 63 feet, to familiarize members, we are on Dearborn Road. Dearborn Road is located very near to the jug handle on Route 1. You access Dearborn Road from Route 1, where Wendy's and Santarpio's are. That's the entrance to Dearborn Road. The rear aspect of Dearborn Road is out on Farm Ave. And the Public Services Department, landfill, et cetera, are all located out on Farm Ave, somewhat immediately behind this particular proposal. The proposal at 8 Dearborn Road has been heard by this board on 2 occasions, one in which we were approved for parking and number of units, and we have taken this project through to the Conservation Commission, Site Plan Review, Community Development Authority, all of whom have signed off and approved. The reason we're asking to place our sign, I've given you a copy of that sign and what it would look like. It will be located on the top floor and will be visible. It is our intention and hope from 12895 as it approaches Peabody from Woburn and the south. If you're traveling in the northbound lane, you would be, as you're approaching the cutoff 295, these buildings would be located directly in front of you. It's a well-treated and wooded area. We are intending to leave the trees as a buffer to the lower portions of our building. There is massive trees that are located between our proposed apartments and the apartments that are already located on Dearborn Road. And our hope is that with the grant of this variance, our sign for Jayden, the Jayden Apartments, will be able to be seen from 95 and from, for the connection 95 to 128 and from 128 as you're traveling toward this area. I'm happy Janice Hurst is here this evening as a representative of the company, and we're happy to answer questions that you may have.
You want to ask it?
Yeah, through the chair, if I could. What's the benefit of having a permanent sign on a residential unit? I don't understand that. Especially where it says leasing. I would think you would hope to lease all the units out and they would be full and everybody would be living there. What's the purpose of having a sign that says leasing or even Jayden?
The sign that we're requesting is actually Jayden as an identification of the apartment building itself, not the leasing sign. We are hopeful that it'll bring the fact that Jayden is located in Peabody and that we are distinguished from the other apartment complexes that are in the area. As you approach from the south, by being able to see the fact that Jayden is above that tree line, you'll be able to navigate your way. It's our expectation, navigate your way to us. And for those that are already living there, their friends and family would also, it'll be identifiable as to where we are exactly.
Just to kind of piggyback on that through the chair, well, there'll be other signs on Dearborn, though, right? Identifying the Jayden property?
Yes,
Okay.
regular directional signs, very low,
Yeah.
and then out at the entrance.
Okay. And I might have missed in the really fine print within here, but is this a colored sign, or is this going to be just white? Is it going to be blue? Do we know?
Does it light up?
I don't know.
Who's this guy? Up, up. Just want to know color. Does it light up?
Yeah, I don't know if it's flashing.
Does it flash? Does it speak to us?
Big toes?
Address for the record. Red light has to go on.
Name is Richard Biggins, representing Arden Visual Communications, 167 Bow Street in Everett, Mass. The letters are painted a warm gray Pantone, and they are halo illuminated, so there's no face illumination. They only, the letters light internally and give a soft glow around the letter off the facade of the building.
24 hours?
No, just during evening hours, so it'll be probably on a time management system.
Okay, I get it. You get it?
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody in the audience to speak in favor? In opposition? Matter is before the board.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Oh, sorry. Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yes, you're all set. Thank you. We are now going to take number whatever it is. Jason Panos, you're up. It is,
Good evening. My name is Jason Panos, practicing law for the record at 246 Andover Street,
special meeting number 2.
Peabody, Massachusetts. Here on behalf of the applicant, Tanright Residences, for proposed 40B development at 39 Wallace Street.
Hate to interrupt you,
Okay.
but So this is under special meeting number 2. We do need to accept 3 correspondences. March 14th, Langley memo with attached Weston and Sampson water peer review. March 28, Langley memo with attached traffic responses, tie and bond peer review. And April 21, Weston and Sampson hydrant test reports. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, sorry, Attorney Panos.
That's okay. Dovetails into a very, very brief presentation where I'm simply here to update you on where we're at with those reviews. So the applicant, Tanwright, through its engineer and myself, engineer being Hayes Engineering, is working with Bob Langley, who's pretty much spearheading the peer review, to review those memos that you just voted in. A final memorandum we expect will be prepared in time for next month's ZBA hearing, which we hope will detail any proposed conditions resulting from that peer review. We have a meeting scheduled with Mr. Langley within the next couple of weeks, and assuming approval of the comprehensive permit by this board, which we expect could happen by July, if you close your hearing by June, we will be filing with the Peabody Conservation Commission for Wetlands Protection Act relief. And that is my status update.
Thank you very much. We will see you next month. I need a motion to continue till June 12th.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll see you next month. Now, number 1, before we begin, we have Attorney Seligson here with the decision for 128 Newbury Street, Chapter 40B. We need to accept the correspondence of April 27th, Attorney Kelty's decision for an extension request. May I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're all set? Okay, Attorney Seligson, you are on. Thank you.
I'm on now. There we go. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I am Damon Seligson. I'm counsel of the board. I'm with the law firm of Sheehan, Finney, Bass, and Green in Boston. I'm here to read to you portions of the decision that you will vote on regarding the application for a comprehensive special permit submitted by Maple Multifamily Land SELP for the property at 128 Newbury Street in Peabody, Mass. Map 057, Lot 074, B2P and V. I'm not going to read the entire decision because it's lengthy. I'm going to go through the main portions and then focusing on the findings, and then the board will vote. There'll be conditions as well. I've worked on the decision with counsel for the petitioner. The public hearing is closed, so you can ask questions of myself, you can ask questions of the petitioner and its counsel, but you're not to take any more comment from the public. On October 7th, 2021, the petitioner filed with the Peabody City Clerk a comprehensive permit application with all plans, appendices, attachments, schedules, reports, surveys, and studies pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 40B, and supporting regulations at 760 Code Mass Regs 56, and pursuant to the City of Peabody Zoning Board of Appeals, Chapter 40B Comprehensive Permit Rules and Regulations, as required by Section 21 of Chapter 40B and 760 CMR 56. The application, as filed, originally submitted to the board was for a project that was to contain 220 units. The board later reduced the project to 180 units. The current application details the proposal to construct 180 units of rental housing with a variety of unit sizes, including 7 studio, 62 one-bedroom, 91 two-bedroom, and 23-bedroom apartments across 2 four-story structures with 310 single-story detached residential garage and surface parking spaces. The proposed development, which is tentatively known as Alexan Peabody, is located at 0 Newberry Street, Winona Street, 1 Race Drive, and 3 to 12 and 14 Race Drive. Race Drive is formerly known as Leno Marshall Drive, and also shown on the assessor's map at 57, lots 074, B2 P and V, as well as an access easement that's located between the site and Newberry Street on the assessor's map 57, lot 74, 74U, and 74X in Peabody, Mass. 45 of the units, which is 25%, will be designated as affordable for residents earning a maximum of 80% of the area median income as is prescribed by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. The applicant will enter into a regulatory agreement with Mass Housing and therefore is considered a limited dividend organization in accordance with Chapter 40B and 76 Code Mass Regs 56, and will take title to the site at or about the time the issuance of the comprehensive permit by deed from the current owner, Race Peabody LLC. The applicant will pursue the subsidized financing, construction, and operation of the development through the New England Fund. The site is entirely within Peabody and is located approximately 15 miles north of Boston. The site consists of 15 parcels of land identified as the Peabody Assessors Map 57 and attached as Appendix B to the narrative included within the application. The application was filed under the New England Fund program administered through Mass Housing as required by the Act and was accepted by the Peabody City Clerk on behalf of the Peabody Zoning Board of Appeals, which timely commenced its hearings in this matter on May 16, 2022. The application was submitted and accepted by the board with supporting plans, specifications, studies, schedules, and appendices, and the actual itemized list of materials submitted to the board starts on page 2 and continues all the way on to page 3. The board, the development team is also identified on page 3. The board opened its duly publicized public hearing on May 16, 2022. The board hearings were continued to June 6th, July 18, August 15, September 19, October 17th, November 21st, December 19th of 2022, and then January 23rd, February 27th, March 20th, April 24th, and to tonight, during which the board received peer review materials and presentations were made by the applicant. The board closed its public hearing on March 20th, 2023. As is submitted in the written decision, peer review was conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Act 760 Code CMR and commenced on or about July 7th, 2022. The board has notified each of the City of Peabody's local boards as defined in the applicable regulations, including the Planning Board, the City Council, Conservation Commission, Police Department, Fire Department, the Board of Health, and the commissions of the application filing by sending a copy of them to each such board in accordance with the rules and regulations of the City of Peabody. The record is detailed and starts on page 4, runs all the way through to page 6 with an itemized list of the materials in the record. Obviously, I'm not going to read those in the interest of time. The findings proposed for the board to vote on with the decision. The board adopts the following findings, which you will vote on, pursuant to 760 CMR 5605, subsection 8, and other provisions of the Act. First finding, the application conforms to and was submitted in compliance with the Act and with the Peabody rules and regulations, including without limitation the completed comprehensive permit checklist and distribution list pursuant to which it was and it and was properly distributed to all local boards. The hearing was duly and properly noticed and called in order in accordance with the open meeting law, pursuant to the open meeting law and as amended by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts executive orders, particularly with respect to the COVID-19 pandemic. The hearing was properly conducted in accordance with the provisions of the Act, Peabody's rules and regulations, and with the open meeting law. The applicant and the development are qualified pursuant to 760 CMR 56.4, pursuant to the Mass Department of Housing Community Development Project Eligibility Letter dated July 8, 2021, and the project eligibility requirements as detailed in the said letter. As proposed, the development is set forth in detail in the application and includes 180 units of rental housing with a variety of unit sizes, 7 studios, 62 one-bedrooms, 91 two-bedrooms, and 20 three-bedroom apartments across two four-story structures of 310 single-story detached residential garage and surface parking spaces. The project will be served by municipal water and sewer. The development presented in the application as conditioned, and the conditions will follow, is consistent with local needs, as required by the Act and consistent with the City of Peabody Housing Production Plan, adopted February 25, 2021, and approved by the DHCD in March 2021. Specifically, as stated herein, the City of Peabody identified a critical need to increase the supply of housing at a variety of levels of affordability, including both rental and home ownership options. In this case, the development will provide both market rate and affordable housing options consistent with the goals established in accordance with the HPP. This development will provide additional rental housing stock, which furthers the goal of increasing the number of affordable units in the City of Peabody. Starting on page 18 of this decision is a list of the requested exemptions, exceptions, and waivers from the applicable City of Peabody ordinances and regulations for the development and forming a part of the application, which are consistent with local needs as defined in the Act. Subject to the conditions imposed below, the board is to vote if it finds consistent with the record cited above, with particular attention to the board's exhaustive peer review and application revisions, that the development has been thoroughly reviewed and addresses local concerns related to protection of health, safety, traffic circulation, pedestrian access and safety, open space, and site and building design. The uses proposed pursuant to the comprehensive permit evidenced by this decision shall coexist at the site without hindrance or detriment to the applicant's obligation to comply with all applicable laws. Subject in all respects to the applicant's list of requested exemptions, exceptions, waivers from the applicable City of Peabody ordinances and regulations, this decision is a comprehensive permit issued by the board in accordance with the Act, which is a decision of the board acting for, quote, all local needs as defined by the Act for issuance of any applicable site plan review, variances, special permits, orders of condition, and otherwise. The next part of the decision is actually the decision that you will vote on. There are conditions that start at page 8, section 4, that run all the way through to page 16, which you have has been circulated to the board. So with that, unless the board has any questions of either myself or the applicant or the applicant's counsel, you're free to discuss amongst yourselves, and then, Madam Chair, put it to a vote.
We have everything in front of us, and I know that we all have looked this over. We've been at this for quite some time. I want to know now if anybody on this board has anything they want to add, question, delete. Give you a couple of more minutes.
A question through the chair for the attorney. Damien, on page 3, it lists the dates, the board hearings. The April 24th hearing was postponed. Is that going to pose an issue? No, I don't believe so. Okay. Okay, thank you.
What are we looking for?
Snow removal and the storage of snow. There was a condition. Was there a condition that they had to put it? It's there? Okay, I missed it, okay.
Yeah, I just gotta find where it is in here.
I just thought,
So, I need a motion to approve the decision as read and as stated in front of you.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Roll call vote.
Keith,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Barry, Stephen,
Yes.
Fran.
Yes. We will, before we leave tonight, we need to go to Carla's desk and sign the decision, which will be submitted to the city clerk tomorrow. Oh, well, it's coming around now, so we'll sign it now.
I just wanted to take John Kelty on behalf of Trammell Crow. I just want to take a moment to thank the board for its professionalism throughout this process. Want to thank Attorney Seligson for working with us to arrive at this decision. We have seen it. We have assisted in authoring it through James Ward with me this evening, and Mark Baranski and Andy Huntoon, James Ward, and we're all very thankful for the efforts of the board, and thank you this evening.
You're welcome. Just to let everybody know, as a point of reference, we are now up to, with Mr. Panos's 40B on Wallace Street, we are now 8 40B units in the city of Peabody, with another one coming before us next month. You might want to just do a little homework and find out how this works. It is a very complicated process. The state of Massachusetts loves 40Bs. We happen to live in a city where apparently we have lots of space, buildings that need to be refurbished, space that contractors have decided that this would be a great place to have a 40B. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'm not actually sure we can fill all these units. I don't know where these people are going to come from, but that's just my personal opinion. But just as a quick, I know we have a long agenda, but just for a little side information, The contractor applies to the state for a comprehensive permit of a 40B. The state comes to the city and they look at the space. They say, yeah, this would be great. The whole thing goes to the mayor. He gives it his approval. It comes before us. We basically, at that point, if we are at our 10%, we can claim safe harbor and not hear it. And, look, if you know me, I like to talk. I'm just going to tell you a little funny story. Before we even started this, with our very, very, very first 40B, which is now built and leasing behind Sonic, Carla and the building commissioner, somebody said about safe harbor. Well, maybe you can claim safe harbor. And my response was, how can we claim safe harbor? We're not building near water. You're supposed to laugh.
I laughed. Oh, it's okay.
It has nothing to do with water. At any rate, we get a lot of negative comments, this Board of Appeals, on the 40B. And like I said before, we do not go looking for these. We do not correspond and say, yay, look at that, we have another 40B. This is torturous for us. We have different opinions, but we have to do our job, and we condition them to the best of our ability. Go online, look to see what the process is. It's a very lengthy, involved process, and we try to do the best we can. What comes before us, we don't go looking for it. It comes to us. That being said, I want to thank Attorney Seligson for coming here tonight. Once again, a wonderful job. Thank you. And we're now going to continue our regularly scheduled meeting to number 1, which is a continued application of Arlene Adams on 229 Lowell Street.
Hi, Arlene Adams, 229 Lowell Street, Peabody. Okay, I'll start over. Arlene Adams, 229 Lowell Street, Peabody. Going for a variance to convert my house to a two-family, and the variance is for the side yard supposed to be 10 feet. I have 4 feet, and the lot size is smaller. So, any questions?
Yes. So, we went on a site visit April 6th, and we toured this property. And the board and the building inspector, we had a lot of concerns, and we still have those concerns. So I'm going to just read to you. I believe that you already heard all of these. But if this gets approved, these conditions have to be met, and a clear plot plan has to be submitted. So I'm not sure we can actually vote on this tonight, because I don't think you have a plot plan that shows what I'm going to state. You have a vinyl shed, 12 by 20, has to be removed. The patio, which is 10 by 10, should be moved, and a plot plan showing that the patio should not be on anybody else's property has to be shown. We will not have any parking in the front. Parking only in the back, with the plot plan showing 4 spots. Only 1 commercial vehicle can be parked on the property. How many commercial vehicles do you have, sir?
Do I have any? I don't think any of my vehicles are commercial.
Okay. Well, if you do have any, we can only have 1 that can be parked on the property. So, I don't believe you have a plot plan that shows any of this happening.
We did have a proposed plot plan. I showed you the drawings of where we were proposed to park. The vinyl shed that's out back has been removed.
Okay.
I have a few more things to clean up there. The trailer that was in the front driveway is gone. I
Okay.
have a small one there right now that I've been using to move the stuff out of the vinyl structure that was in the backyard.
Okay.
And I spoke to my neighbors about all the other issues that you've had, and none of them have any problems with it whatsoever. And if it needs to be addressed, then we'll address it.
Okay. Okay, just give us a minute. Yeah. Okay, so here we go.
Hi, so for this to be written up for us to vote on, the plot plan has to be revised to show that the conditions have been met. So you're going to have to acquire that before we can vote on it. Can we hear the conditions one more time? Sure. We can actually get you a copy of them.
Carla, can you give them before they leave tonight or email you? Okay, so really at this point, we have to continue this till next month. Carla will give you all those conditions, and as soon as they're all met and you have a clean plot plan, then we'll be able to hopefully approve.
And just through the chair, just to touch on one of the elements that was discussed before is because you brought it up, I was saying the neighbors next door don't take any issue with how the patio encroaches onto that corner. The problem with that is less of do they take an issue with it, and more of it's a plan before us that we have to approve showing your property is on somebody else's property. So even though they agree with it, we can't necessarily approve a plan that shows you going over their line.
What if I get something in writing from her?
Saying we can use
Her
her
accepting me to use
No,
that?
Well, I can't give you legal advice on what you should or shouldn't do in this situation, but a circumstance where you have a piece of property where their land is here and your patio goes over, even if it's by the 1.5 feet or so that it is here, you guys between now and the next meeting, you might want to consult with perhaps a real estate attorney and figure out how you can clean this up.
Yeah, again, I don't think this encourages on legal advice, but you wouldn't be able to give us a note saying it's okay. They'd have to actually deed you a portion of that land.
A note saying it was okay?
That wouldn't
They
work.
would have to
It
deed
won't
it to
work.
you. It's a
what
whole
you're
legal
saying?
mumbo jumbo.
A deed, like they did with the other property.
They'd have to deed you that portion.
Whatever.
That's okay, I get it.
She gets it, I don't.
Okay, all right.
So could you just ask to be continued till next month?
Yes, can I be continued till next month?
So moved.
So moved. Okay, we'll see you June 12th? June 12th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, so is number 3 here, Miriam O'Valley? Okay, so I guess, no, you know what? No, it's 10 minutes of 8. Okay, number 3, Miriam O'Valley will be continued, 14 Sandra Road will be continued till June 12th. I don't know where she is, but we can't do this if you don't show up. So number 3 is postponed, continued till next month. Now we are on number 5. Number 5,
You want to read it?
Yep.
Yep. Number 5 is an application of John and Svetlana Melise, in care of attorney John Kelty for a variance from the provisions of the zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, section 7.1.5, as it applies to the premise known as 5 Tanners Ridge Road, Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance to build a pool cabana which requires relief from cabana size where 747 square feet is proposed and 120 square feet is allowed. Property is located in an R1 zoning district.
Again, Attorney Kelty, you do know that, and I think you just said it, that cabana sizes are 120 square feet.
Thank you. My name is John Kelty. I'm an attorney. I have offices at 40 Lowell Street here in Peabody. I'm appearing on behalf of John and Svetlana Malachi, who are the owners of property at 5 Tanners Ridge Road here in Peabody, Mass. John and Svetlana have moved to this particular brand new subdivision from a subdivision which was built in the mid to late 80s. Some 3 members of that subdivision that original subdivision have all moved up to this particular Tanners Ridge Road. And so at the present time, while John and Svetlana are hoping to build this, what appears to be very oversized cabana, they have gained the support of their neighbors, those especially who knew John and Svetlana from the Gooddale Farms, and then also their newest neighbor has supplied a letter. This is the gentleman who is located right behind this particular cabana. He says that his name is Vincenzo Boda. He is at 3 Tanners Ridge Road. I will give the letter to the board, but he says, I'm writing to give my remarks regarding the property line variance requested by Mr. and Mrs. John Malachi at 5 Tanners Ridge Road. I do not mind this property line variance request, and I believe that it will provide needed privacy for both of our backyards. Any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact me, and I would like to... Okay. All right, I've read it into the record, and for the record, we do have the support of our neighbor immediately behind the fence. We are proposing a fence as the diagrams and architecturals created by Joe Betancourt indicate. There will be a fence. The fence is necessary in order to have the pool. That's a code requirement. And in front of the fence and between the pool and this fence will be the cabana. The cabana has a hip roof, which will lower the scale. It's 1 story. There's an open section, which is almost like a cupola, which we have included into the square footage for the cabana, but that is a open space, slated top, so that it's kind of an indoor-outdoor space, and that is at the end of the cabana closest to the house. Other materials that will be placed in the cabana, there's an opportunity to do some outdoor grilling. There is pool equipment housed inside it. There is a 560 net square footage. There's a shower, a bath after you've used the pool, and a toilet, full bath with toilet and shower. And we're proposing landscaping behind the cabana supplement the trees and create a scenic view for the neighbor whose letter I've just read. They have known each other for the duration of the time that they have moved in. This area was clear-cut in order to build these houses. This is the newest subdivision in the city. These properties are pretty much on grade. There's not a substantial elevation from one lot to the next. So, as I said earlier, we are part of that which is afforded by this cabana is an opportunity to create a privacy for our neighbor whose letter I just read, our neighbor at number 3 Tanner's Ridge. The other side of the house will also be fenced, and there will be trees located there, all of which are going to be new and additional trees added to an area that, in order to develop these houses and the utilities that service them, this area was clear cut, and so now we're providing much needed landscaping and privacy for all of the neighborhood. And we're happy to answer. John and Svetlana are here this evening, and we're happy to answer questions that the board may have.
That was a wonderful presentation, Attorney Kelty, but 747 square feet is asking for the sun, the moon, and the stars. Prior, and precedence has been set, we had somebody before us that had 14,998 square foot lot, and he got 228 feet to build a cabana. We also had somebody with 19,320 square feet. They got 240. I see that there is a pergola. Even if the pergola wasn't there, we figured it was still 612 square feet without the pergola.
Right.
My suggestion is, because, like I said in the beginning, we do have rules, zoning rules and regulations to follow. Maybe we can scale it down to somewhere around 250, remembering that 120 is the number that is allowed. Yes, it's a little small, I get it, but 747 is ridiculously large. We cannot at all approve something like that. I'd like to hear from other members of the board.
Sure. Speaking directly to the petitioners, John. I know John. This is 6 times what the zoning allows, and we're always willing to be a little generous. I think we've made precedent that we'll go over double, maybe a little plus. I don't know if you guys can redesign it with a larger pergola and reducing the space of the actual cabana to make it more in line with something that we can actually, by using precedent, vote on. We can even talk about it, just to see if you can get something that will still meet your needs, but also is in line with zoning.
Would you perhaps consider recess of this particular matter at the moment, and we could talk?
We'd still need plans.
Pardon?
We'd still need plans if we were going to vote, so.
Mm-hmm.
How about we give you a long recess, you talk to your client, you know what we're going to, you know what's going on, and you come back next month.
So,
unless you think that you can really scale this down, but like Keith said, we need.
You need a plan, yeah. Next month?
Can we take 5 minutes? Is that okay?
Yeah, why don't we just take 5 minutes at the moment? If you'd like to go on to the next, yes.
That's fine. Let's go to number 6. Paula, I'm not even going to try to attempt this.
Number 6 is an application of Paula Scherzinger from the variance from the provisions of the zoning ordinance 2020 as amended Section 7.1.5, as it applies, to the premise known as 4 Newhall Place, Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance to construct an accessory structure, shaded area, carport that requires relief from square footage where 500 square foot cumulatively is allowed, and 1,984 square feet is proposed. Property is in an R1 zoning district.
Oh, me?
I'm sorry. My name is John Gavain. I'm the contractor and personal friend of Paula, the owner of the property. And I just wanted to say that it's deemed a carport, and our proposal of the building to the board is for the additional square footage is for shade coverage. There's no cars or anything being parked here. The shade coverage, which is not supplied anywhere else on the property, is for a special needs 4-year-old child who is legally blind and needs to be out of the sun. And Paul is here to tell you that she watches this child every day. And once again, the lot is very level, and the building's not visible from the street, and it's very open to the sun. But here's Paula.
Hi.
Did he say you watched the child? The
I
child's
watched the
not-
child. Yeah,
the
she's my
child's not-
granddaughter.
Oh, she is part of your family.
Yeah, she has albinism, so she can't go out in the sun, and she wants to go out because she's 4 years old. You know how they are. So I'm trying to get an area for her to be able to go out during the day and, be a kid.
You said no car, this is in the yard?
No car,
so
yeah, it's just
It's not
gonna
over a
be-
driveway, paved area or anything?
It's what?
Is it over a paved area, or is it over grass?
top driveway. There is a driveway leading to the backyard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just through the chair, this might be more for the contractor.
Oh, okay.
The plan, where I see the driveway come in currently to what appears to be an existing garage, those are the carports going to be put in front of the garage, though.
Yeah.
So will cars have to drive underneath this to use the garage?
The garage that's existing is more like there's no room for a car. It's more of a shed area, a workshop for this gentleman here that owns the home. We don't really have a picture of the existing building, but the doorway's about 6 feet. You'd be pressed to get a car in there. And once again, too, he works for Holden's Oil, is kind of a very handy gentleman, and it's more of a workshop area. No vehicles are ever put in there.
Yeah, I saw the size, and the size looked like it was small for a
Yes.
single car garage, but I kind of wanted to ask.
Yes, sir.
Trying to figure out the layout and the purpose that was so far set back.
Yes, you're
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, there's no cars in there.
So it shows coming through here, and the garage is there, and the proposed shade structure's here. Just you have to drive through it. But the garage is so small, it doesn't actually house cars anymore. Kind of like one of the garages at my house was in the 50s, and you couldn't fit a Volkswagen Bug in the thing anymore. So it's just storage.
You have all this stuff on your land? You have all this stuff?
Big yard.
Big piece of yard.
Yeah.
I still got more open.
Through the chair, I'm going to suggest we go look at this property. I know I'd really like to get on it and see it. I've seen it from the street, but I'd like to get back there and actually see what this situation looks like. We're going from existing 1,256 square feet, which is more than double what's allowed, and then they want to build onto that and add it bigger. I'd like to see it.
So you said you didn't hear, Member Gilbert is suggesting that we go take a look at the property just to see what it looks like and where it's going to go, so we can understand its relation to the other neighbors and so
That's
forth.
good. Yeah,
Right.
sure.
Just have a question for Carla. Did any building inspector take a look at how much square footage in comparison to all the buildings here? Okay, so we're going to bring a building inspector with us too, I think. All right, so we will, We will have a site visit, and let's see. How shall we do this? Shall we have Carla? So could you, we need you need to ask us to continue this for next month.
Can you continue this to next month?
Sure.
So moved.
So moved. We'll see you June 12th, and we'll come and look at the property so we get a better understanding. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
We're gonna have.
What'd you say? Number 7, Laurel Company, Inc.
Oh, Jack's out there.
Oh. Number 7 is a continuance?
Oh, okay. Move to continue, no, should I read it? Want me to read it?
Yeah, read it and we'll continue it.
Number 7 on the agenda is an application of Laurel Company, Inc., care of Attorney Jack Kelty, for a variance from the provisions of zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, Section 7.2, as it applies to the premise known as 0 Pearl Street in Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance to allow subject Lot A to be built upon where lot is less than 5 feet short of the required 125 foot of frontage and requires relief from frontage where 125 feet is required and 120.8 is proposed. The property is located in an R1 zoning district, and I move to continue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, continue till next month. Let's have number 8, Dennis Dragotis.
Number 8 is an application of Dennis Dragotis from the variance from the provisions of the zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, Section 7.2, as it applies to the premise known as 7 Beeman Road, Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance to construct an attached garage and requires relief from side yard where 15.5 is proposed and 20 feet is required. The property is located in R1 zoning district.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Mike Manganese. I'm the owner of 7 Beeman Road, occupier. Purchased the property in 1994. It's been there 29 years. So this has been like a project that has been 29 years old. So I finally got off my ass and got the plans made 2 years ago. Then the pandemic hit. And come out of that, so I'm ready to do this. And Dennis is my contractor. So basically, it's a minimalistic design. It's 24 by 28 deep, attached to the house. Simple. I made the architect look at it so that it fit in with the original design of the house. I don't know if you had to look at the plans, but it's very subtle, very nice, and I think it adds to the community and the area. It's not a monstrosity. It's very simple design. I just want to get the cars off the street, out of the elements, keep them secure, and have some space for visitors as well, off-street parking for the winter time. I think I put that in my letter too in there, so pretty straightforward.
The building is 2 stories? The building is 2 stories?
No. The building, the garage is just one.
The garage is 1?
Yeah, 1 story.
Okay.
1 level.
Questions, comments by the board? Anybody in the audience to speak in favor? In opposition? Matter is before the board.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You are approved. You'll hear from Carla tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Kelty, you have anything for us?
I would, I can remove the pergola, and I would then have pool equipment, and I would have an area for storage of the summer products in the inside. That would take it down to 480 square feet.
Without the pergola, we have 612. What else are you taking off?
There's a corner that I would get it down to 480 square feet. That I could fit, what my client would like to into it, and it would reduce that triangular corner that is at the other end from the pergola. Pergola would be removed. And we believe
know,
we're
but-
down to 32 by 15, which is 480 square feet.
480, and we have never approved anything over 240. Remember that it's 120 square feet allowed.
I understand that, and I'm not sure, however, that you've had a lot of this size, which, was as clear-cut and has the support of as many neighbors as this particular, but
But and I hate to interrupt you, but this is zoning laws. This isn't. Oh, the neighbor thinks it's great. And that's wonderful that the neighbors think it's great, but there are laws that we have to abide by. So we have a couple of things. You can still think about it. We can go take a look at it, or we can vote tonight. 400 and whatever is still too big.
Yeah, I guess just to echo that through the chair, is that we've had, granted, they may not have been new builds on flat land before, but we had a couple we listed off earlier, at least the chair listed off earlier, that were 19,000, give or take, square feet, and we had 240, 230. I don't think we've gone to 250 yet. And whether it's a cabana or an accessory structure, we've had a lot of these come before us that have people requested 2, 3, 4 times. And what we can't do is we can't set a precedent that we can quadruple it. Everyone in the city of Peabody who has a pool is going to start having 480, and then it's going to turn into 550, and then it's going to grow to 600 because someone's going to have a 25,000 square foot lot, and it's just going to it could snowball. So I think that's just the unfortunate position we're in with this.
does the board have a comfort level with 360?
I think if you take the number that you proposed coming back, but make a large amount of that the pergola, but still try to keep us with precedent integrity, that's something we're going to have to deal with.
So
Our precedent is doubling the size. So if you can get creative, I'm all for it, but yeah, come on, John.
I was under the impression that an auxiliary structure had the ability to
Accessory.
be accessory structure had the ability to be in 480 square feet.
Pool cabana is its own section of the zoning.
But if it's more than a pool cabana, wouldn't it qualify as a?
If you want to come back and try to make that clear, part of it's a cabana and part of it is storage.
It's in the blueprints. It does show storage of the pool equipment. It does show,
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the chair addressed that.
So it would be okay if I did separate structures that were smaller.
Accessory structure is 7.1.5 in our zoning ordinance. You can't have more than 500 square feet of accessory structure, and that's cumulative.
Okay.
But for a pool cabana, where your plumbing is and your pool equipment, that can only be 120. So if you did 2 structures with 120 as a pool cabana and then something else, it can't be more than that 500.
Okay. Okay. So technically, combined, I can have 500 square feet total, is what you're saying?
They have to be 6 feet apart.
6 feet apart, yep.
6 feet apart, you still have to go by the zone.
Okay.
So your cabana would be 120, and then your other accessory structure would be 500 minus the 20.
300,
But it
whatever
can't
it
be
is.
habitable space. You can't have a bar in there, you can't have like a TV, you can't have habitable space in an accessory structure. It's storage only.
Okay.
So we need a plan anyways. Why don't you, I know it's getting to be hot and pool season, and don't think that, we get enjoyment out of this, because we don't, but it's just the way it is. Why don't you just come back next month?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Move to continue.
All in favor? Thank you. And, I do have to stop. I understand. I'm a homeowner. I've had to go through zoning denials, believe it or not. Believe it or not, but it's true. I understand you own the property. Believe me, I understand. But it's just the way we have to do it. And if you think that we're being tough, when I tell you there are other towns, they wouldn't even give you a second chance. They would deny you tonight, and that would be it. And I'm not saying that because I want to make light of this, but that is the truth. You know, I hope we can work it out. Thank you. Number 9, Zachariah. Number 9, right? Yeah.
Yep. Number 9 on tonight's agenda is an application of Regan and John Zachariah for a variance from the provisions of the zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, section 7.2, as it applies to the premise known as 11 Martinac Ave in Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance for an above-ground pool and requires relief from rear setback where 35 feet is required. 6 feet is proposed. The property is in an R1A zoning district.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you here today. As it was stated, my name is John Zacharias, my wife Reagan. We are the homeowners of the residence at 11 Martinac Ave in Peabody, Massachusetts. We are here seeking a variance for an above-ground pool and requires a relief of rear setback where 35 feet is required. 6 feet is what we are proposing. There are a number of reasons besides the advantages of a pool in the summertime, okay? But if you do have any questions further, I'd be glad to answer them. I know you have a busy agenda, but there are health and physical therapy reasons behind the request, and if you have any questions on that, I will be glad to answer those in full.
I have a question. How far away from your fence is your neighbor's pool behind you?
The pool behind us?
Yeah.
Like 5-10 feet? Or
Yeah, exactly.
That used to be my pool.
No, you live behind us? No kidding.
All right, that's all I got.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Yes.
Questions by the board, or any other comments by
No, just
Mr. Osborne?
Just through the chair, you can see by the size of this lot, you couldn't put it anywhere.
Right.
And everyone has one, so.
And it wouldn't be the only pool there.
No.
Anybody in the audience to speak in favor? In opposition? Hearing none, the matter is before the board.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Roll call vote.
Yep.
Yes.
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 You are approved, yes. Number 10.
Number 10 is an application of Kevin Greas for a variance from the provisions of zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, section 7.2, as it applies to the premise known as 2 Maryvale Lane, Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance to build a 2-story addition and requires relief from right yard setback where 20 feet is required and 7.8 feet is proposed. The property is in an R1 zoning district.
Good evening. My name's Kevin Greas. I'm here with my wife Donna. We are the owners of 2 Maryvale Lane, and we also reside at 2 Maryvale Lane. We are proposing to construct a 2-car garage with a storage room above. The garage will be 25 by 30, and we meet all the requirements with the exception of the sideline setback. So we are seeking relief for the sideline setback to be 7.8 feet.
So above this garage, you said it's 2 stories?
It's not a full second story. It'll be a sloped roof in the front, going the same direction as the house roof. It'll be a steeper pitch so I can get the height. And it'll have a dormer on the back.
And is it just for storage, or do you plan to?
Just for storage.
So no plumbing, no TVs?
There'll be electrical. There will be heating for, just to keep it above freezing in the winter. But
Fine.
no plumbing.
Okay, great. Questions, comments by the board? Anybody in the audience to speak in favor? In opposition? The matter is before the board.
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Any opposed? You are all set, sir.
Thank you so
You'll
much.
hear from Carla tomorrow. 11, Daniel and Marie O'Neill.
Number 11 on tonight's agenda is an application of Daniel and Maria O'Neill, care of R.L. Mino for a variance from the provisions of the zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, section 7.2, as it applies to the premise known as 47 Fairview Avenue in Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance for a farmer's porch and requires relief from lot coverage where 30% is allowed, 42.8 is proposed, front yard where 20 feet is allowed and 3.1 is proposed, side yard where 15 is allowed, is required, and 6.5 is proposed. The property is in an R1A zoning district.
Hi, my name is Marie Vigner O'Neill. I'm at 47 Fairview Ave, and I would just like to have a front porch so that I can see the pond. That's about all I can tell you. You have questions, let me know. I have a beautiful pond. I want to look at it.
It looks like the setback's a lot further than 3.1 feet, which is in your favor. I don't, is it further back than the street than that? How far back from the street is it really going to be?
Let's see, it's proposed as 13.1 feet.
13.1.
Right.
Gotcha. It says 3.1. All right. Okay.
Questions, comments?
Just a comment. I'm very familiar with the neighborhood. I live in it. Neighbors have this. It's a beautiful neighborhood, and I'm all in favor.
I love farmers'
Thank you, Chris.
I love
He's my neighbor.
Anybody in the audience to speak in favor? In opposition, the matter is before the board.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes. Aye.
Any opposed? You're all set, Ms. O'Neill.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy that pond view. Number 12, Josephine Cook.
Number 12 on tonight's agenda is an application of Josephine Cook, care of Attorney Jack Kelty, for a variance from the provisions of zoning ordinance 2020 as amended, section 7.2, as it applies to the premise known as 25 Glendale Ave, Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks an additional variance to new construction lot B, where left side yard setback is 15 feet and 10 is proposed. Front yard setback where 20 feet is required and 10 is proposed. The property is located in an R1A zoning district.
Thank you, members of the board. My name is John Kelty. I'm an attorney. I have offices at 40 Low Street here in Peabody, Mass. I'm appearing on behalf of Josephine Cook. This is an application that you had seen in the past. You had granted variance for a new structure on this lot under date of October 18th, 2022. We took that approval and went to the Conservation Commission, had an on-site meeting after filing for an order of conditions to build this structure. When we were at the meeting, after careful review of the natural characteristics of the land, it was suggested by we did stake out where the house would be under the prior plan, and the Conservation Commission indicated that they may well be more receptive if we were to move the structure as is evidenced by tonight's plan that is before you. We moved it a little further to the front of the property, away from the resource area, and we've actually made the structure a bit smaller than was previously proposed. We would ask that the board consider the presence of the wetland and the site visit instruction to try to adjust and massage the whereabouts and size of the property, and we've done so and hope that the board would grant this variance this evening. Josephine and her contractor are here this evening if you have any questions of me or them.
We all set here?
Yeah, so you can see it right there in the plan, right? Has to do with the with the land, topography of the land.
Anybody to speak in favor? In opposition? Matters before the board. Oh, I can't see you.
Jack, before he comes up, did Concom fully signed off on this?
They put everything on hold and asked us to come here.
Okay, all right.
Excuse me, but Attorney Kelty, they were happy with the movement of what you did? They were happy with the plan so far?
Yes.
Okay.
Ricky Williams, 15 Granite Road. Rick Williams, 15 Granite Road. And I'm in opposition because of all the flooding we've had over the years down in that particular area, And, you know, when you're doing all that, the water rises when you put stuff in. That's basically it. Okay, can I sit down?
Anybody else to speak in favor or in opposition?
I just through the chair then. With that complaint or concern being arised, Attorney Kelty, is there anything within these plans that addresses potential flooding from that area or reclaiming the water or anything like that?
Yes. We have We're proposing, which is not usually the case with single-family homes, we're proposing infiltration chambers that are on the right-hand side on the planned evidence filed by Josephine this evening. We have infiltration chambers, and we're collecting our water from our roof and inserting them into the infiltration chambers.
Okay. I think this print is so small, I think I'm just missing it. Is that on the right side of the plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Plan or the proposed?
I think it's on the grayish color one. Okay. Is that the recharge trench?
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Anybody else? Matter is before the board.
Just a comment through the chair, if you may. Again, I live in this neighborhood. Flooding is substantial. Hopefully the city's recent upgrade to the stormwater drain system will be helpful, but I know what that water turns into when we get a lot of rain. And I'm just concerned that, you know, my neighbor back here is a stone's throw away from my property. He gets severe flooding. His neighbor gets flooding. Unfortunately, I'm up on the hill a bit. I do get it in the basement. Anything to this area is concerning to me, and I'm going to be paying close attention to Concom's decision on this. It's really concerning to me.
Ma'am? Mm-hmm.
Thank you. My name is Josephine Cook. I'm the owner of the property. I just wanted to say that last winter, not this past, the one before, up near Granite Road, this was a big to-do, but they did a lot of work there for some other reasons or whatever. And then the mayor said that they had gotten rid of the overgrowth. Like if you look at the water, it looks like it's water, but it's really overvegetated. When we had the drought last time, you could see the whole thing. So the mayor kept saying it was done and he was there, but then he realized it was Granite Road and not in back of Glendale. So that's scheduled to be done again to help, because I know some people are, worried about flooding. And 25 years ago, we had terrible floods, and thankfully they've been okay. But that's supposed to be, they're dredging Brown's Pond, which is a totally different thing. And then they're going to do that in the summer, they said. So just so you're aware of that. Thank you.
Just through the chair again, just to clarify, the work that was done takes the flooding from Granite Road and Hillside, puts it in a big contraption in front of this gentleman's property that now lets out in that pond behind this proposed property. That massive contraption, $600,000 worth of work, that, knock on wood, hopefully it works. We haven't seen it yet. That contraption dumps out into this pond behind this property. So it's just moving the flooding from my house and my neighbor's, the gentleman back here's house, and getting it to that pond quicker. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to Brown's Pond. The initial plan was hoping to get it down to Browns Pond, but it wasn't cost efficient for the city. So they put this contraption in the street. It captures all that water that comes down from my end of Granite Road, puts it in the street in this massive contraption that dumps out into that pond, that retention pond. It's concerning.
Through the chair to the attorney, Jack, your improvements to this, how will they work with what? How does that going to work in conjunction with what the city has already done?
This pond is on a mosquito control plan, et cetera, et cetera. With respect to the items that the neighbor and board member Gilbert are speaking of, our reduction of the water from this property and any water from this particular structure, our holding on to that and using these infiltration trenches and pipes is going to, delay water from this particular property getting into that ponding area. And there have been efforts to, under a controlled environment, do some work on the outlet from this particular ponding area as then it gets around to down Fairview down to Browns Pond. But our purpose is to reduce the amount of water from our property that gets into the pond at the end of construction.
So you were before us on this before, weren't you? And we granted you a variance. Is that correct?
Yes, and now
And so
I
you're
took
bringing the
that
house
plan.
further away from the resource area.
That's correct. So I need a reduction in my front setback.
Okay, nothing else from the audience. Matter is before the board.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes, unfortunately, this is not approved. Carla, now what?
That's what I'm showing the Concom. That's why I'm at the Concom. Well, the infiltration does show on the plans here, but we don't have, if what you were saying, we don't have their approval because they said move the house, move it closer. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that was my understanding.
Now, you're correct that I still don't have approval from Concom, and it could be that they don't approve it. But those issues, I think, are more accurately and appropriately before them.
So, yeah.
And the reason I'm back is...
Through the chair, to my fellow board members, that my understanding was they needed this approval, moving the dwelling, to then go back to Concom. So maybe the vote needs to be conditioned on Concom approval.
Okay, move for reconsideration. Let's say it.
Prevailing, so it's either my...
So I'll make the revised motion to approve with the condition, how do you want me to word it, Keith?
The condition that Concom fully approves after the moving of the dwelling, the plans to remediate the water issue.
Okay, that's the motion.
That's the motion.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess Keith made it, then I guess I'll second it.
Now roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Yes. And Ms. Cook, the attorney, will explain to you what just happened. Thank you very much. Now we have number 13 on the agenda, which is...
JDT.
Yep.
Number 13 on tonight's agenda is the application of JDT LLC, care of attorney Jack Kelty, for a variance from the provisions of the zoning ordinance 2020 as amended Section 7.2, dimensional controls, and Section 10, landscaping, as it applies to the premise known as 0 Newbury Street in Peabody, Massachusetts. Petitioner seeks a variance to construct a 5-story self-storage facility and requires relief from front where 50 feet is required and 35 feet is proposed. Side where 40 feet is required, 34.2 feet is proposed. Height where 40 feet is allowed and 50 is proposed. And FAR where 1 is allowed and 1.3 is proposed. Landscaping where it applies to front and side yard landscape strips. The property is located in a BR1 zoning district.
Attorney Kelty, you're busy tonight. You're welcome. Yep, thank you. You're welcome. Yep.
Thank you, John Kelty, appearing for JDT Group of 30B Railroad Street in Revere, Mass. This is an actual variance that had been before you. It is identical to the other variance with respect to height, use, everything that you heard before. You had given me a permit, and at that time I was to do plantings, and those plantings were to be located on the property of our neighbor. This is registered land out here. Licenses, easements, things of that nature, although our neighbor was very accommodating and granted us the use of their property. We would much prefer to be able to do everything on our own property, so we're proposing a different location for the landscaping, as is shown on this particular plan. This landscaping will now be the same as was proposed earlier, and will all be located on our own property. I do have boards here this evening. If the board cares to see them, we'd be happy to present them. But as I've said, this is a variance that you've granted before, with the exception of the plantings being on the property of what used to be the Cuisina, the Greek restaurant, the kitchen. It is now medical marijuana, which has not yet opened, although it is fully built out. And once again, I would say that our neighbors were very accommodating. It just had some problems of its own based on the fact that we were dealing with registered land. And now our permit has expired, and we're here for the same permit in the past. Thank you.
Through the chair, just for clarification, Attorney Kelty, what property is this to the left of Kachina?
No, Cuisina. It's straight ahead. It's in behind Don's Power. It's behind Cuisina, and left and behind Bertucci. Now it's a kind of a large hole in the ground.
And I think we're all set with this? Yeah, we already. Oh, and I don't see anybody left to speak in favor or in opposition other than people with a whatever you call a poster board, and I don't think it's before the board.
Motion to close the public hearing. Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You are all set. Thank you very much. I need a motion to accept February and March meeting minutes.
Hold on a minute. Oh, yeah.
Oh, number 3. Yeah, let's continue it.
Yeah. Yeah, so move to continue number 3 to the next scheduled meeting on June 12th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to accept 41 Newbury Street, 40B submission and public meeting extension request.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn? Yes, we are all done. Thank you very much.
We got through 2 meetings.